We now head to the southern part of the continent where South Africa's Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has criticised the country's parliament for its failure to protect South Africa from state capture. A year after submitting the State Capture Commission's final report looking at corruption and fraud across the South African government, Justice Zondo says nothing has changed and he fears Parliament is incapable of preventing another bid to capture the state. The Commission describes state capture as a political project and it placed the governing African National Congress at the top of that initiative. However, Parliament has strongly objected to the public criticism, saying it is inappropriate for the Chief Justice representing one of the arms of the state to engage in public attacks on the legislature. Joining us live to give us more insights on this is a former Member of Parliament and President of the African People's Convention, Themba Godi. Warm welcome to you, Themba, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Now, it's been a year since Chief Justice Raymond Zondo submitted his report. What do you make of his claims 1 year later that, Parliament is incapable of preventing such from happening? Is it an indictment in Parliament? And does it make the entire billions of rand that was spent on the exercise in futility?
Well, I must say that I was surprised by his statement because I thought that the fight against state capture would actually first and foremost point to the executive. You recall that actually he submitted his report to the president, who then committed to responding in writing to Parliament in terms of the measures that the executive is going to take to prevent such an occurrence. And so I would have imagined that the executive arm, whether it be the work of the president or the prosecuting authority in terms of follow-ups, would have been his area of focus. Otherwise, in terms of Parliament, I don't think that that should have been the priority area, looking at the phenomenon and how it manifested itself in the past.
Now, Themba, what are some of the issues stopping Parliament from, acting on this Zondo Commission report? What is preventing them from acting? Some would have expected arrest and, indictments and what have you a year after.
Yeah, like I say, Parliament's work is to oversee the executive and to make sure that government departments and ministers act within the confines of the law. They scrutinize reports and especially submission of financial reports to Parliament. And I think in that instance, therefore, Parliament becomes reactive to unfolding situations. And yet the area or the area that enables state capture is actually the executive, because it is the executive that controls, that has the budgets of departments. It is the executive that dispenses contracts to the private sector. It is the executive that, that makes all the decisions. Now, from where I'm seated, there was no call for any major legislation that Parliament needed to pass that would make the Chief Justice to feel, look, I had 1, 2, 3 recommendations that you have not implemented.
Okay, now, Themba, having established this fact, would you say that Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's criticism of Parliament was misplaced? And why hasn't the executive been able to act on the Zondo Commission reports? Is it because it's majority ANC and it's, trying to protect the interests of its own members?
Not true. I think that his criticism, to the extent that it merely focused on Parliament, as if Parliament is the source, of that phenomenon, I think it was misplaced. Secondly, there's a perception here that he would not criticize the executive because the relationship that he seemed to have with the president actually seemed to epitomize the very state capture that he's talking about. I mean, we're sitting here with a case of the suspended public protector who, on an urgent basis, launched a case with the Constitutional Court, which he chairs. It's now 8 months since it was launched. There has been no decision. And the term of the current public protector ends in October. And you ask the question, what is the problem? And of what value will that judgment be, seeing that she's only left with about 3 months to be in office? And many other questionable instances where the courts have, decided in favor of the president. And you recall that even in the interviews, out of the 4 interviewees, the current Chief Justice came last. He was number 4, but he was made Chief Justice. This then raises question about the extent to which he's independent of the executive, and therefore his lack of criticism of the executive.
Okay. Thank you very much, Themba Godi, President of the African People's Convention. We appreciate your time and contribution. Thank you.